Hello again, friends. Welcome back. You can tell by now, I'm at a whole different stay. I'm at like a bamboo hut. And compared to my last one, it was a tree house. And the reason for that is because I'm still fairly young. I'm only 22, and this is like the beginning of my digital nomad journey and traveling the world. And due to me being a kid at heart, I decided to stay at really weird and different Airbnbs. However, during my experience in Bali, I found these shades right here at a local market. And the reason why I bought these is because my friend back at home in Australia has the same exact pair, something that looks like these, the Oakley ones. And obviously these made in Bali aren't real, but I just wanted to try buy it and test my negotiation skills at the market, see if I still got it in me, and cop these at a cheap price. And I want to ask you how much you think these are worth, considering they're from Bali and they're from a market. Personally, for me, I think they're only worth $5 Australian dollars. So I asked the guy, I go up to him, I'm like, how much are these? And he quotes me $45. And $5, $45, it's a drastic change. So, I start the fight and I negotiate. I'm trying to get these at $5. And if you negotiate yourself, you always start at the lowest price, something lower than the price that you want to pay for it. And we're going back and forth, and we're going back and forth, and we just can't accept the price. He thinks it's way too low. He doesn't want to sell it to me. And midway through the negotiation, this sense of niceness came over me. And I said, you know what am I negotiating for? These are $45. I got them actually down to $25, and I wanted to keep going lower, but I just stopped. I decided to be nice, and I was like, you know what? Let's stop the fight. Let's stop going back and forth. And here's your $25. So I count up 2.5 notes or 3 notes, and I count up 3 notes. I give it to him like this, and he takes it from me. And through his stoic poker face, I could tell he was grinning through his teeth, because in reality these probably only cost like a couple dollars to buy, and then he's selling it at what, 45 retail, and then he sold it to me for 25. So he grabs the money from me, and I could tell as soon as he grabbed the money, he grabs it like this, and he started tapping his other items, almost like he was wishing it good luck or something like that from my niceness. Who knows? But through that experience that I had here in Bali, I realized how being a nice guy will actually make you way more money. And that's simply due to the cycle of giving nice energy and receiving nice energy back. And let me explain. So if you wanted to relate this niceness exchange into business and how it'll make you more money, using an example that I'm used to, I work with a lot of tradies or tradesmen or home improvement businesses, and how they sell their service is through a process called quoting. And I know, due to previous clients and previous experiences, that a lot of tradies are actually really lazy when it comes to emitting their niceness during the quoting process. And what that looks like is, a tradie goes to someone's house, they measure up what they need to measure up, they choose the materials, whatever it is, and they give a price. And all they do is just, here, measure up, boom, boom, pick this thing, all right, let me give you a price, boom, here's the price, $20,000. And then they just leave the home and let the customer pretty much decide if, do I want to choose this business as the service provider to work on my dream home? And usually, 9 times out of 10, the answer is always no. Now, if we wanted to change that outcome and potentially increase the amount of sales that we get through the quoting process, right? A potential thing you could try is to simply just be a nice guy. So what this might look like is, when you meet the prospect or the lead, you actually want to greet them, be a nice guy, show that you actually care about them by asking them questions, get to know the person, and eventually when it comes time to actually quoting, you want to take your time and slowly understand what all their problems are so you can solve it in the nicest way possible. And you've probably heard this term before, people buy from friends instead of strangers. And what that means is, people would rather buy from someone that they feel like they can trust, and someone that isn't just there just to take their money. The position that you want to frame the quoting process is that you're there trying to understand their problems and solve it. And what this does is it emits a type of energy out into the universe that attracts your ideal customers. Simply, if you act nice and you put in the energy, put in the effort, and try to get to know the person, understand their problems, and come at a position of niceness, you're probably going to close a lot more jobs, and you're probably going to get more better energy back into your life. Because the truth is, on the other side of things, if you were the type of person to just give them the price in a quoting process, and that's all it is, here's the price, and you leave, that off-putting energy, the type of energy where you don't put in any effort, the type of energy where you don't care at all, or what it feels like you don't care, at an unconscious level, it feels super unattractive. Now, before I leave, I'm going to give you a quote. The quote being, needing nothing attracts everything. Which means if you come from a perspective of abundance, where you don't need this job, you don't need this relationship, it gives you an energy that feels super attractive. If you give off an energy that makes you feel abundant, it feels like you have everything by needing nothing, right? You attract a lot more different type of energies and a lot more good energies and positive energies into your life. With that being said, in your next encounter with a stranger or a lead or a prospect, try your best to be nice to them and see how that turns out. Put in the effort, put in the energy, and you'll soon realize later down the line, you'll get it all back. Peace.